Howdy. So, we got Rob McLean turning the page, or flipping the coin, or I don't know what you want to say in terms of what you want to do here. It's your show.
Well, hey, okay, so we're doing something different.
Yeah.
I am in a car with Robert Murray here. We've seen him speaking to all sorts of wonderful people in the community, and I thought somebody should interview him. He's a community leader. He's got to know, he's got a lot to say as well, right? So we should be talking to you about
I got the message. I was like, okay, I'm in. It's a ton of fun to interview people, and I've had a blast doing it, so I think you're going to have just as much fun on this ride.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm jazzed to go through what you want to talk about.
Well, yeah, it's always fun to talk to people in the community, especially doing what you do. And I've sort of seen you progress. I mean, a bit of background for everyone out there. I first met you and your partner there, your business partner, in I think 2009, when you were literally screwing a TV in the wall at the Guelph Country Club.
Yeah, legitimately.
And you guys have come so far since then.
Yeah, big time.
And it's been amazing to see the growth of Intrigue Media. So, for those of you who out there who may not fully understand what you're about, these things always start with the elevator speech.
Sure.
So, what's your Intrigue Media elevator speech? What's Intrigue Media all about?
Great. So we help grow businesses through marketing, leadership, and technology. And there's a whole bunch of hows to that, but our whole kind of reason to be is to empower leaders and strengthen communities. And our philosophy around it is that by giving people a bigger voice and getting more attention, they have an opportunity to have more influence in their community. And kind of John C. Maxwell said it best, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
And then the whole idea of building a marketing platform and an organizational platform on purpose, and this idea of being authentic in marketing messaging, but also in recruitment.
Yeah.
So that way, when we're making promises to the marketplace about what to expect when they experience our business, and then we make promises to the labor, force or labor market around what our company's all about, we attract the right clients, we attract the right team, and then when clients come, they experience authenticity.
Right on. Tell me more about the idea of authenticity. What authenticity means to you in communicating a message. And you mentioned purpose as well.
Yeah.
I mean, my philosophy is that purpose has so much to do with authenticity.
Yeah.
How do you help clients to reveal their authenticity, to reveal their purpose?
Sure, cool. That's a great question. So not everybody's ready to do it. It's kind of a big thing to say up front, is that not everybody wants to go down that path right away. But one of the things we found, and taking a page out of Simon Sinek's books, Start With Why.
I love his stuff.
Yeah, it's great. And there's biological evidence that suggests decision making is tied to our limbic brain, where emotions live and vocabulary doesn't.
Yep.
And so there's a reason why a lot of people don't start with their purpose as a message.
Yeah.
Because it's tough to define, it's tough to articulate, it's tough to
very hard.
Make simple.
Hard. Absolutely.
But once we do it, it becomes really powerful. And the whole idea is that when we communicate with purpose, and when the inspired leaders, inspired organizations communicate with purpose, people that believe what those people, organizations believe, gravitate. So, if you look at Martin Luther King as an example, when he did his big "I Have a Dream" speech, and hundreds of thousands of people came from all over the United States of America, no social media, no technology framework to communicate this mass message. They all came, but they didn't come for him. They came for them.
Right.
They came for their own reasons because they shared that dream, that purpose, that ideal. So I know that's a very big one, but it's one that everybody knows about. And then the whole idea of bringing it back, to a marketing message is, we believe in something, and we've got clients who have done a really good job articulating that, and then as they do it, they start to attract the right type of clientele that believe that idea.
Absolutely.
And then the really neat part about it is when we spend a lot of time, doing some soul searching around purpose, as leaders of an organization or owners of an organization, or even as a leadership team inside an organization, and we find what really is our purpose, not just for the sake of having a purpose statement, but actually taking the time to understand why we exist and why we chose this business and why we get up in the morning.
Yep.
And we start to communicate it, it becomes really easy to live it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's real.
Sure.
And that's the beginning of authenticity.
Right on.
So there's no like, hey, the price goes up on Monday, so buy it today, or half price on everything this weekend, so come in now, which is all manipulation marketing.
Sure.
So this
short-term gains, but no long-term brand development.
And no loyalty.
Yeah.
And then the same's true on bringing in team members. So if we communicate that same purpose to the market of people that are looking for great opportunities for their careers, we have an opportunity for them to come be part of that organization.
Absolutely. You're going to attract the right kind of people who are going to represent those core values, believe in that purpose.
And then the clients come in, they experience the team, everybody's aligned on this purpose, and they're experiencing an authentic organization.
Right on.
Yeah.
You mentioned about, why should people get involved with this business? So let me ask you, why did you get involved with this business? What was your, I was recently reading Terry O'Reilly's new book. I don't know if you've read it yet.
It's on our bookshelf, I haven't got to.
You got to get to it.
Yeah.
And he's got that idea about any entrepreneur, any entrepreneurial moment, and if you want to get to the core of your purpose, it all comes down to that moment where that entrepreneur said, there's got to be a better way. And they were so frustrated in that moment that they created a better way.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, the onset of this whole thing, the reason to do it was probably not the best, but the action itself was really the purpose. So, I essentially was running low on OSAP money, and it was like October.
Yeah.
So September in Guelph was a ton of fun, and I probably had too much of it. This is third year university, and or I was second year, and a buddy of mine said, hey, I'm thinking about putting up these TVs. What do you think? I was like, yeah, it's a really cool idea. And then he somehow, if you remember the Movie Shack, that was on Wellington.
Yeah.
He was like, I was talking to this guy, a little computer shop inside Movie Shack. I found these computers. We can put them up. We've got a guy, we were talking to Dean at Trends Hair Design at the university at the time.
Yeah.
Awesome dude. Big shout out to Dean. Thanks for making this all possible.
First client?
First contacts, put up our TV for us. And then we installed the TV, all for the opportunity to try something new and try to engage the student body to kind of go downtown Guelph before 11 p.m.
Right.
And
great idea.
And then the idea was just like, let's just do it. It's not happening right now. No one's doing it. We don't really know anything about video or technology or a little bit about design.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Dive in. Go.
And I think the big thing in all that we've, understood since then is the idea of empowering leaders and strengthening communities. Because right from the day one, we would go to all these community events that don't have money to market themselves and say, hey, we'll sponsor you. We'll just put you up on our TVs.
Yeah.
Because people need to know
right
what's going on in the community.
And events, that's the biggest challenge they often have, is getting the word out, right?
Yeah, getting the word out, trying to get funds raised, whatever. There's a lot of people that don't know what's going on in our community, and probably not as much today as there was 10 years ago, not knowing. And hopefully we've had a bit of part of making that happen, which would be epic. But the thing for us was really about, if you want to go do something, and we wanted to go do something, we're not going to wait for someone else to do it and be like, why hasn't anybody done this?
Yeah.
And I think that's
there's got to be a better way moment, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the core, though, of the idea of if you have an idea, or when we had an idea, was to actually do it. Because the world's full of great ideas, but it's not full of people making them come to life.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like our whole thing, is to empower leaders and help people understand that they can go do it. It can be scary, it can be difficult, but that's probably why it's going to work, because when it's scary and difficult, people don't.
Yeah, right.
And that's really kind of the core, is to create a world where less people are waiting for change and more people are making it happen.
Yeah, wow. Cool, very cool. Now, I'm wondering, you mentioned earlier on that the idea of, getting somebody to helping a client to articulate their purpose, to articulate their authenticity, that kind of thing. That's very much the marketing side of what you do. But you mentioned that some clients just aren't ready for that. And I find that all the time in my own business. That's, I totally get that. So I think a big part of Intrigue Media is around the media production also. There's sort of like the marketing side, I think, and then the advertising side. Advertising always being sort of a subsection, almost the tactical implementation of marketing.
Sure, yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's a good definition.
So how do you feel, in terms of just media production, if somebody isn't ready to go to the depth required to articulate a clear message?
Yeah.
How at the least do you help them with just straight up, media production, getting the message on your screens?
We're a little sneaky that way. We actually bring them through, every client that we work with goes through what we call an A-client profile.
Yeah, right on.
A-clients are awesome clients.
Cool.
People that love your stuff, smile when they see you, tell their friends, don't balk at your price, they pay their bills on time, all that awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And there's 4 questions we use at the top of the A client profile, and they are, what do you do? No wordsmithing, just straight up, what do you do?
Right on.
So if you fix cars, just don't say you fix problems. You fix cars.
Yeah.
How do you do differently than your competitors? Why do you do it that way? And why is that important to you? And that last question, why is that important to you? It garners the strategy.
That's huge. Absolutely.
Now, other people go through like purpose facilitations that take us, a couple of months usually to get people really articulated. But that last answer of that 4 series of questions really helps us define what that message is going to be, to give us the platform to go do a media production.
Yeah.
To develop, an ad campaign, to develop
with a message
campaign.
that you know is going to be
authentic.
Yeah, about as authentic as you're going to get.
Within a 25-minute conversation as the starting point of an hour-long phone call that we do with all of our clients.
Sure.
So then when we go, we use that starting point, because the whole idea is if somebody comes to us, and we've had this happen where a client's come to us and said, I need more bums in seats, or whatever you want to say, sales leads, and I want to do Facebook advertising, and I want to spend $2,000 a month, and I want you to do it. And we're like, okay, well, how and why and who do you want to? Oh, I don't know. Just make that. It's like, okay, we can't work together.
Yeah.
There has to be a little bit of that concrete pouring at the beginning for this thing to have legs.
Yeah.
So then when it goes to actually making it happen, we do it in project teams and we scrum things out so that way there's more coordination on the inside. We haven't always worked that way, so I'm not sure if that answered the question.
No, I think it does. I mean, I always talk about the gap between strategy and tactics, right?
Right.
And, a lot of people, I'm sure you hear this all the time, I need a social media strategy.
Right.
And I always say to those people, you actually don't need a social media strategy, because social media is a tactic.
Right.
What you need is a communication strategy.
Right.
And social media may be your primary tactic within that.
Right.
Is that sort of what you're getting at in terms of the sneakiness of developing that core, get into as core a message as possible?
We definitely need to have a core message.
Well, you have to do that, right? I mean, if you just go and spend somebody's money on a Facebook campaign, it may not be money as well spent as it could be. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Because they need to get that strategy locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really define who it is they want to go after.
Sure.
And why anybody would care.
Well, the why, yeah. That's why Simon Sinek is awesome for all this stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And I mean, the days are gone where it's like, I'm open, come to my store.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't cut it anymore. And there's just so much niching happening. There's so much segmentation in the marketplace. And there's a lot more people.
Yeah.
So we just got to really understand, like, who we want to talk to, what value we can bring together as a client and business relationship, and then find we use a couple of different frameworks. One of my favorite ones is the success framework from Made to Stick.
Yeah.
And the idea of like something being simple, unexpected, concrete, and emotional, story-based.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a really cool framework for like developing a good actual advertising campaign.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. Getting noticed is not easy.
Absolutely. It's harder than ever. But let me take that as a segue into my next question, because you guys have been at this for basically a decade now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, according to CRA, it's 10 years in September.
Right on.
We did market research for a year, so we didn't sell anything and not declare it, just for the record. I know this is being recorded. Just so there's any clarity.
If you're watching
but
out
we
there,
did a year of market research.
Right on.
And pound and pavement, and then we started selling in September 2007.
Good for you. That's rare to go to that depth of pre-work.
Yeah.
Well, so tell me if you can, in that decade, how have you seen, and you touched upon this a little bit already, how has the marketing world, the advertising world, the message distribution world changed in that time? I mean, when I think back to 2009, YouTube was still kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
And I even talk about Twitter in 2009. Have you ever seen the graphs of Twitter adoption? It was always just sort of going on a line, and then in February 2009, just went straight up. And I think that was when Oprah brought Ashton Kutcher on.
Right.
I was talking about it. I think it was in February 2009.
Well,
Suddenly
Oprah
Twitter exploded.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of messaging distribution, how have you seen things change?
Oh, man, it's crazy. I mean, like, when we started the organization with putting digital TVs in consumer environments and then creating a local ad medium that would compete with, say, the local newspaper or maybe radio station.
Yeah.
That was really what we were talking to people about. And when we asked people what they were doing with their marketing dollars, they would be, advertising in the newspaper, magazines, maybe a billboard, mobile signs, sometimes the radio.
Yep.
I have a website, and Yellow Pages was a big thing.
Right.
People are still using it quite a bit.
Absolutely. And Yellow Pages had the bundle of services. They did video production a little bit. I think they still do.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, nobody knows.
I'm just going to bite my tongue on all that stuff.
Fair enough, of course.
People were spending money there.
Sure.
And now as we started to, grow, and everybody knows, I mean, Google itself has just been so impactful in the way that we, as consumers, buy.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing, like for me, there's kind of two buckets around the advertising landscape. So the first one is around being there when someone's looking.
Right. Yeah.
And Google does some really cool content, and actually Mike Bernier on our team just wrote a cool blog about mastering micro moments, and like I want to do, I want to learn, I want to buy, I want to go. Like these micro moments where people are researching phone, desktop, laptop, tablet, whatever. More so mobile devices than before. What they want to buy. Customer reviews, huge, important part of that whole thing. But this concept of being found when someone's looking, super important. And it was dominated. That was Yellow Pages.
Yeah, right.
Up until about 10 years ago, it was, and before.
It was the sole source for people taking that approach.
Where you look. Now, some people would still look for recommendations from friends, and that still happens. But more and more, you look at the TripAdvisors, the Yelps, Google reviews, Amazon reviews. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I just had 3 kids, and the amount of reviews I did in terms of trying to figure out what kind of crib to buy, what kind of stroller to buy, what kind of car seat to buy. It's just mind-blowing.
Any information to do with children is, it never ends.
Right, and it's prolific. There's so much about it, right? So that's one piece, is this idea of getting found. That landscape has changed like crazy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I would recommend to anybody, it's like, hey, start searching out your services and your names and see if you're coming up the way you want to come up, because that's like that's the most important as far as I'm concerned. The second one, which is like almost as important, and I would say still very important, is this way of getting noticed. So that way, when somebody, for example, with Intrigue, let's just say, for example, we're talking to business owners, and one of our big strategic, directions is to build websites for clients. When we build a website, we can help them in so many more ways because we have control with them over the biggest asset.
Yeah,
and we
absolutely.
can shape it and change it and make it and tweak it and make it better over time.
Yep.
Whereas if somebody else has it, there's a lot of like lead time because we have to request changes, and then it might take a month or two for it to come back and be ready. So it makes our speed on delivery way slower. So we're talking to a lot of people about websites, and the whole reason is we understand not everybody's ready to build websites right now, but they might be next year.
Yep.
And I'd much rather have them Google Intrigue Media in a year from now to find our contact information because they know we build websites.
Absolutely. And website development is absolutely a core service you provide.
100%.
I wonder, some people might not fully understand that.
100%.
So I want to make that point known, website development.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's the most critical part of any type of marketing and advertising communication strategy from our perspective.
Yeah, that's the anchor for everything you do.
It's the new storefront. Everybody goes there. So
I totally agree.
The point, though, being is when somebody goes into a marketplace, because not everybody's in every marketplace at any given day, you consider yourself as a consumer of furniture, or in this example, business owners and websites. I don't want them Googling website company. Website company Guelph, or website company Canada, or website company Ontario. I want them Googling Intrigue Media. And the only way we're going to do that is by getting noticed, being relevant, and then providing them with value. And I think that's the biggest shift that I've seen in the last 10 years is content marketing and relevance. And there's all this stuff about content is king. But really the idea is like, who are you trying to talk to? What do they care about? And what can you write that they'll want to read, as opposed to, hey, here's my stuff, check it out. Here's my stuff, check it out. Here's my stuff, check it out. And we got to just flip that on its head and say, what is it that they want, and how can I provide them value over the journey of when they become in the marketplace?
Right.
So that way they want to talk to us.
Right.
And really position ourselves as trusted advisors in that whole approach. And I think the same goes true for all of our clients. We try to position them in the same way. It's like, flooring's a really good example. I don't know if you ever bought floors in the last couple of years.
Not in the last couple of years. Certainly in the past decade.
It's fucking daunting. There's like hundreds of thousands of options. And if you've done any reading or studies, whatever, analysis paralysis kicks in real fast.
I bet.
So it's like there's a ton of opportunity to provide value for people, around flooring, whether it's, decor, color schemes, the effect of humidity on hardwood, and what kind of traffic volume you've got, foot traffic you've got in your house. Like, there's all this opportunity to help people understand all the different variables that are involved with flooring, so they don't go buy the 99 cents a square foot at Home Depot because it's 99 cents a square foot. So I think that's the biggest thing we need to start doing, is understanding who we want to talk to and what kind of content we can build value for them.
Yeah, and that'll stimulate referrals, really, right? Stimulate
loyalty,
provide value for people and loyalty, and
absolutely.
You'll get more A clients. And
you got it. And it's a marathon. That's the other thing too, because like we've seen.
Well, it's a marathon that never ends.
It's not a race. It's not a sprint. And we've seen the advent of Groupons and WagJags and these like bulk purchase discount. And they haven't worked. There's a couple of business models that work okay for, like hotels or golf courses in like low times. Yeah. Because they have perishable inventory they need to get rid of, and they need $1 than $0. Yeah. But for most people, a lot of people use it and got crushed. Now they're door crashing sales, people come through, but then they're alienating their full paying customers because they're full, and it didn't work the way they wanted it to. So I think when something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Right.
Yeah. And that's a funny point from the client point of view, right? It's hard to tell somebody that, a ton of traffic may be a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. If it's people that are going to buy your 50% off deal and then never come back, and they're going to make the person that pays full price for the last 5 years wait in line because they've got all these disloyal consumers, it doesn't seem like a good decision.
Well, let me ask you a final question here. I think we're probably ready to wrap up our drive.
Whatever you need.
The idea of leadership. I've heard you mention the word leadership a lot. Now, you're the leader of Intrigue Media. What's your personal feeling? Maybe even what's your elevator speech on what leadership means to you?
Well, I mean, it's kind of ingrained in the company in terms of, from my perspective, leadership is really about 3 things: lead yourself, serve others, inspire. So, leading yourself or leading myself is all about, doing what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. It's about swallowing my frogs, doing the things that make me stressed out or anxious instead of procrastinating, getting them done. And really, accomplishing the goals that I've set out for myself, whatever they may be. And in doing that, once I'm able to lead myself, I can serve others. And I think servant leadership is really the core of leadership. And if you look at our organizational structure at Intrigue, it's upside down. So ownership's at the very bottom, and the whole idea is, as leaders of the organization, we're here to support everybody else. Right on. And that's where I think it comes to life, is this idea of helping people see a different perspective, serving them in a way that adds value to their lives, and give them the opportunity to see their potential. So for me, I have this like limitless potential mentality that wherever you put your time, you can have limitless potential. And a lot of people, and even in myself, I don't want to exclude myself, have self-limiting belief systems around what's possible. Absolutely. And I really want to help people break through those so that we can create a world where less people are waiting and people are making it happen.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
Very cool. I think we'll call that an interview.
All right, thanks, Rob.
Thank you for joining me here today in your car.
Yeah, you were in a car.
I'm in a car. You were in a car today.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.